Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the show. It's great to have you with us tonight. Another exciting night planned for you. Well, the Prime Minister, among regional leaders, wrapping up talks today with U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio on matters of mutual interest, including border controls, illicit trafficking, financial services, as well as the still contentious issue of Cuban nurses. Now, according to Press Secretary Keishla Adderley, the Prime Minister is keen on getting clarity on that matter. For instance, is it that the U.S. government does not want the Bahamas to engage Cuban workers, or is it more so how the salaries of Cuban nurses are allocated? The U.S. alleges that the labor export program is nothing more than a scheme to facilitate human trafficking and labor violations. So let's pause there for a second, because here it is, the United States meeting with the Caribbean leaders, and as you would have heard, the concern is, what is it that the U.S. wants? What is it that the U.S. is trying to have happen? Now, in order to understand that, you must first understand the relationship between Cuba and the United States, and then Cuba and the Bahamas. Cuba and the Bahamas has had very cordial relations since establishing diplomatic ties. Now, this comes, of course, after there was, for lack of better words, some amends when we would have had that fateful day when the Cuban fighter jets would have attacked our Defense Force officers. And since then, the Bahamas has established diplomatic ties and relationship with Cuba to work cordially, and that has proven successful on a number of fronts, right? Particularly with being able to secure medical assistance from doctors and medical professionals who are trained and schooled in Cuba, Bahamians going over to Cuba to get medical treatment. Also, it bodes well for us in being able to exchange on cultural exchanges. You would have seen a report tonight from our Felicity Ingram, who's in Cuba, talking about the ties that are being formed, Felicity Darville, that is. And of course, there is the relationship diplomatically. They have an ambassador stationed here in the capital. So the Bahamas has had cordial relations with Cuba. Unlike the United States, it's a whole different ballgame. So right off the top, you understand that the U.S. has challenges with Cuba. And so anyone that dialogues with Cuba, obviously there is a concern as to whether or not all is well. To have the U.S. assert that the concern is, of course, whether there's participation in the labor export program to be a scheme of human trafficking is not only strong allegations, but according to the Bahamas, absolutely incorrect. Prime Minister Davis has gone on record speaking to the issue and saying the Bahamas would never participate in any kind of trafficking, human trafficking, or labor violations. And that what we are doing is above board. We are engaging in assistance programs. Many of these teachers are teaching Spanish in our schools. Many of the doctors and nurses are helping with the necessary vacancies in our hospitals. And so they are contributing and are being paid. However, there seems to be an assertion that that is not really what's happening, and that payment is going not to these individuals, but going to the Cuban government, who's not passing it on to the people, and then you have this assertion of some sort that there is human trafficking going along. In other words, persons are being exploited for their work and not being compensated. And the Bahamas will never be privy to that, will never be a part of that, but that's the allegations. So it's going to be interesting to find out that during these talks in Washington, what comes out of it, and what the Bahamas will say, and what stance the Bahamas will take, and whether there needs to be further looking into the matter. Now, many people didn't know until this happened that indeed the government of the Bahamas was paying the Cuban government. People thought it was direct. You get paid here as a laborer, and you send your money back if you want to, or whatever you do with your money is entirely up to you. Many people are now finding out that's not the case. The government of the Bahamas is actually allegedly paying the Cuban government for their services, and that is where the question no doubt lies. So these meetings in Washington are very important because it's going to not only establish the position, but it's going to bring clarity into what the program is and how the program works. It's nothing new. It didn't just start with the Davis administration. Consecutive administrations have engaged Cuba for its services in medical and in education. And so it's going to be interesting to find out what terms these are playing on and what will happen with that. That meeting is expected to take place, of course, with Marco Rubio sometime tomorrow. The Prime Minister is holding a press conference to that end to address the issue going forward. But I think it's important to understand, first of all, what they're saying in that regard. And that happened today at the press conference. We do have a soundbite there from Keisha Adderley from the Office of the Prime Minister. Take a listen.
He does also want to make it very clear that the Bahamas does not participate or support human trafficking, forced labor, or anything of that sort. Our standing as Tier 1 in the latest human trafficking report issued by the United States bears that out. Prime Minister returns to the capital tomorrow, and of course, we should have some feedback on the outcomes of that meeting at that time.
There you go, as we suspected. So we'll wait for that press conference. No doubt we will address those issues. The media will put those questions to the Prime Minister and get clarity for you so we know exactly what is happening. Well, meantime, assertions by opposition leader Michael Pintard that the Prime Minister is looking to call an early election are being shot down tonight, no question about it. OPM's press secretary Keisha Adderley told reporters the nation's chief has given no indication that he plans to call a snap election, noting he plans to continue to fulfill the PLP's 2021 blueprint for change.
He continues to work on key objectives like lowering the cost of living, improving the quality of life for Bahamians. We can look at cost-cutting measures like the reduction in VAT, the big slash in electricity bills, the sourcing of food from new sources so that they aren't priced out of the reach of Bahamians, the constructions of homes here in New Providence and on the Family Islands, 120 completed and counting. So that is what the Prime Minister is focused on, and I would sooner focus on the more delivery of the objectives of the administration than an election date, including a very big announcement very soon.
All right, so we're going to be listening out for those details. But, you know, it's politics. I mean, the reality is, what else is the opposition leader going to talk about? And as you've noticed, he has been busy trying to make sure he can comment on anything national that happens that's a concern or an issue. He's there. He's talking about it. He's trying to get his opportunity to be in the media as much as he possibly can. And who blames him? That's the job of the opposition leader, right? The job of the opposition leader, especially a year out of elections, be present, be vocal, be in every time the media comes on. If you can get it in, why not? Right? That's the job of the opposition to do just that. And Michael Pintard is not short on doing that. He has been doing that. He's been making sure he takes advantage of every opportunity to give a comment. He's there. And so when there might have been breaks on in the past, breaks are off now. It's all about getting the airtime. And so they ask you a question, even if you have no answer, you talk, get the airtime. And so no surprise here that he's trying to stoke the wheel for the Prime Minister to call an early election. He's hoping that, listen, let's get this stance on. But, you know, I keep telling people, be prepared for what you're asking for, because at the end of the day, if the guns go off, are you ready? And will the Bahamian people respond in your favor? One man can answer that out of all of our past prime ministers. He can tell you what happens when you jump the gun early. It may not go the way you hope for it to go. And so it's important that while there's no date on election, the Bible says, be also ready. You know not the day or the hour. And so it's important to let's establish this right off the top. All camps are making their arsenals ready, because when it does come and when their date is announced, the battle will be on. And it'll be no time to prepare, it'll be time to execute. So like people always say, now is the time of preparation, because execution then comes right after that. Well, interesting. We're going to be talking some more politics tonight, but not as you think on the local front. If you haven't heard yet, it's been exactly 3 months since the Turks and Caicos Islands held its national elections that saw the governing Progressive National Party return to office in a landslide victory against the People's Democratic Movement. The party's deputy leader, who's now the deputy premier, they call him, the deputy premier, is in town this week. He's here tonight to tell us about his visit, why he's here, and what's been happening since the administration has been successful at the polls. We'll talk about that. Then also members of the National Association of Justices of the Peace. Yeah, I say it. That's actually a thing. It's an association of Justices of the Peace. They'll give us an update on what they're doing and how they want to increase their membership. I mean, I don't know how much more they can increase it. Everybody's studying to become a JP now. And so some folk, boy, Lord have mercy. Anyway, we'll talk about that when they come on. And then get ready again for another Boatman show. Listen, if you find something that works, work it. And they're certainly working it. The concert organizer will join me at this desk to give us a preview of what's happening this weekend, the big concert. So it's an exciting show. Stay with us. The Rundown returns here on the ZNS Network right after the break. We get started. Stay close.
Summer in the Bahamas. The weather is hot, but not as hot as the ZNS summer packages. Get ads on ZNS TV or ZNS Radio Network or the TV community page, or a combination of all three. ZNS has got you covered with great prices, whatever package you choose. Book before June 7th and get the local Federation Championship Baseball bonus full of all kinds of extras free of charge. Contact your account executive or call ZNS Sales at 502-3800 today. Hot summer package rates valid until July 31st.
Let's go.
At Frame Studio, as soon as you enter the door, we showcase any individual that comes in there and make it feel like they are at home. The space itself is 1,800 square foot. Our psych wall, which is industry standard also, is 24 feet wide. You can do anything that you can possibly think of. At Frame Studio, under our theme, Now Create More, we look at Frame Studio as a canvas. And any artist knows a canvas is blank, and then you create whatever you want to do, right? So we have where you could rent tools. We even have workstations that people could rent out to anyone inspiring to do what I've done, or what my colleagues have done, or any other journey. I would say to you, don't be afraid. The worst someone can actually tell you is no. So if you have a vision, you have an idea, not everyone will get it. But if you believe in your vision, you believe in your idea, I say go wholeheartedly at it.
For more information about the Creative Entrepreneurs Initiative and the Crafting the Bahamas workshops, email info@sbdcbahamas.com or call us at 461-7232.
Welcome back to the Rundown. A special good evening to all of you who are watching us on digital media platforms in the Lion's Den. I see you. And of course, whether you're watching on your various cable platforms here locally, Flow TV, or if you're watching around the region, around the world. And I always say Turks and Caicos, and I got a reason to say it tonight on your various platforms. Thank you for joining us to the Rundown. Well, it was on February 7th of this year when residents of the Turks and Caicos Islands overwhelmingly re-elected the governing Progressive National Party back in office. Now, the governing party beat the opposition's People Democratic Movement to secure 16 of the country's 19 seats in its parliament. That's a slaughter. The PNP's deputy leader, Jamel Robinson, was elected as an all-island member of parliament. He also holds a prestigious position of deputy premier and minister of immigration and border services. He previously served as the minister of physical planning and infrastructure development and minister of health and human services. The deputy premier is in the capital this week and joins us tonight on the Rundown to tell us more about the Bahamas' successful diplomatic relations with the TCI. Deputy Premier, welcome to the show. Good to have you.
Thanks for having me, Mr. Watson.
And congratulations on your party's victory and your ascension to Deputy Premier.
Thank you again.
So let's talk about it, because, you know, when we talk about Turks and Caicos, we feel as if we're talking about one of our islands. I should say one of our islands that you belong to us, but we share a common ground. And I think we share so much in common that we consider ourselves family between here. A lot of Bahamians are in TCI, and a lot of Turks Islanders are in the Bahamas. And when I go there, it's like I'm in the Bahamas, because people are hailing me and saying, hey, Clint, what's going on? So you feel like you're at home. Let's talk about, since being elected to office, how has things been going, first of all, for the administration?
Well, so the administration is off to a quick start because given that the election was held February 7th, we are in budget preparations right away because the fiscal year ends March 31st. So that's what we've been preparing for. So yesterday, the Premier actually laid the budget in Parliament for it to go to Appropriations Committee. So the 19th to about the 23rd of May will be our budget session, our full-out presentation of the budget, etc. So that's what we're preparing on because, like you would have mentioned in the initial rundown, that it was a significant win. So this is our second landslide victory. The first victory was 14-1 in the 2021 election. This is 16-3. So clearly the people of the Turks and Caicos has significant confidence in us, and we've made significant promises and pledges, one of which is to ensure that we double the size of our revenue from $500 million to $1 billion in the next 5 years, as well as to ensure that we do at least $100 million in road infrastructure upgrades, as well as build at least 3,000 new housing units in the next 5 years. So we have a very ambitious agenda, and I think the people know that we're the right team to get it done.
What was it that turned, I shouldn't say turned because the people always stayed with you. Right. What was it that reignited confidence in the people to re-elect you when around the world governments were being booted out of office because of what people were seeing, because of the cost of living, because of issues that countries are facing? What caused Turks Islanders to say, no, we're going to stay with this administration? Clearly, there was something you were doing right, or some vote of confidence that the people clearly expressed. What was it?
I think it started with our leader, Honorable Charles Washington Mizik, the present Premier of the Turks and Caicos Islands, primarily because he's our statesman. He's one of our longest-serving politicians, and he's been chief minister before. He's been minister of finance. He's on his second term as premier, and I think that steady hand is what the country wanted and needed, particularly coming out of the COVID-19 pandemic, which we were the government that kind of guided us back to economic prosperity. And because since about 2012, we kept on switching governments a little bit like the Bahamas.
Yeah, every election.
Exactly, but because we wanted stability and we had the right mixture of seasoned veteran politicians, statesmen, young up-and-comers like myself, persons who are hard workers. We have a cross-section of former public servants, business persons, so people who had their ears to the ground. I think all of that was rewarded with another landslide victory at the polls.
Is there any pressure this time around because of this overwhelming support of confidence to deliver for the people?
Definitely, because in our first term, I think we laid the foundation, laid the groundwork for a lot of the things that will come to fruition in this term. So it's make or break. So all of the things we said that we needed more time to deliver, we have to deliver, because being the first government since the Michael Mizik administration to get 2 terms in a row, we have to deliver that for the people. Otherwise, they're going to say, well, you had your time. And one of the things we did was a constitutional change, so we moved from a 4-year term to a 5-year term. So now we have 5 years to deliver for the people. So if you can't deliver in 9 years in total, it'll be hard to say, well, I need more time.
Pretty much. I remember when there was an opening of the office here of Turks and Caicos Islands, the first time ever to open an office here. How has that been since opening that office? Has it proven successful here in the capital?
Yeah, I think it's been very successful, actually, because it provides, and that's the TCI Diaspora office that you're referencing.
Yes.
It provides an opportunity for Turks and Caicos Islanders who want to connect with home to have a central location. We also would have last Friday did a meet and greet in Freeport, Bahamas, under the leadership of our representative over there, who's Kenan Curtis Robinson. And from the feedback that I got today in visiting our TCI Diaspora office here in Nassau, it was a lot of people came to the meeting, as well as they would have visited at least some 500 persons in their walkabout during the day leading up to the meeting. So we're trying to make sure we are able to connect more with the persons from our diaspora. And of course, I believe on par, the Bahamas probably has the biggest Turks and Caicos Island diaspora. Probably States might be second or first or running a race there. So it's very important. I think it's been a success. So we want to grow that, go from strength to strength, and ensure that our people know they still have a place at home.
Can we now see that becoming a diplomatic soon presence here? Talk about the nature of your trip here.
Well, I think eventually that needs to happen, and it needs to be a bit more seasoned, because as persons know, we're still British overseas territory, so that'll happen over time in terms of having more responsibility for our own foreign affairs. And the reason I'm here, because in our new government, I would have changed portfolios to immigration and border services. And with that responsibility, I'm also the minister with responsibility for regional affairs in CARICOM. So I would have came to the Bahamas specifically to meet with Honorable Fred Mitchell, the Minister of Foreign Affairs. So he's the point person that we liaise with for CARICOM, because we are associate members of CARICOM.
Correct.
So the Bahamas is the point person for all the other overseas territories that are associated members. So I kind of came here to get a proper briefing to know the ins and outs of what's taking place in CARICOM, because we have a meeting, joint meeting on July 1st of this year. In addition to that, we are also taking on protocol in the Ministry of Immigration and Border Services. So we had an opportunity to meet with the Chief Protocol Officer, Mr. Archer, for a meeting as well. So that was very informative. So we're going to see how we can utilize the skill sets that are in the Bahamas in their protocol sector to see how we can build that in the Turks and Caicos, because as persons know, Bahamas has the best protocol offerings in the region, if not the world. And lastly, because I'm also Minister of Labor, we took the opportunity while here to meet with officials from the Labor Ministry. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to meet with Honorable Pia Rule because she's out of country on business, but she ensured that we organized a meeting with the team. So we had that meeting today, and it's very, very fruitful.
One of the another area that you have established ties with is, of course, the Broadcasting Corporation. We've been working with your administration in support of your national station, getting it established and so forth. Why is that important in your view to have that kind of presence of media established in the Turks and Caicos Islands?
Well, media and social media and all media is very important, particularly not just in politics, but in the way you want to govern a country. Because an informed populace is a very important populace. It makes it easy to govern. It makes it easier for you to be able to bring persons along and share in the vision. It can't be a thing that they only hear from you on the campaign trail every 4 or 5 years.
Correct.
So it's important that we created those ties and started the work. I believe there's some more work that ZNS would have to do with, in partnership with RTC and I believe the Premier's Office, or the new Ministry of Innovation, Technology and Information, which RTC now sits, to be able to continue those partnerships and move that along, because media is important, and trying to build a proper, robust infrastructure is something that we want to do. And of course, leveraging the skill set that exists within ZNS is something that we saw as fruitful, and it has been fruitful thus far.
Let's talk about some of the challenges that Turks and Caicos face, because obviously for any government that's in or even trying to be elected or to office, have to focus on what are the concerns of the people. What are the concerns of Turks Islanders?
Well, the concerns of most Turks and Caicos Islanders is balance, because of course we have a robust economy, which, and I'll speak from a position of immigration.
Right.
It's robust, and we need foreign labor. But on the other side, we have to ensure that we have opportunities for Turks and Caicos Islanders to be workers as well as entrepreneurs, business owners, and have opportunities to have upward mobility within the job market itself. So that's the thing that we ensure, because again, with our great mandate that we have, wanting to get to $1 billion worth of revenue year on year in terms of the government side of things, and have a greater, robust economy, we must continue to grow. But in that growth, we have to make sure that no Turks and Caicos Islanders are left behind. So it's finding that balance from meeting the needs of our economy, which is getting supercharged and we need more people, but also ensuring that Turks and Caicos Islanders have the opportunity to be able to grow it. And to tie it back into the diaspora needs, our ideal is to grow the economy and people with people who are just like us. So that's Turks and Caicos Island, the Bahamians. That's Bahamians, generally speaking, because of the historical ties, because of the cultural ties, it's better to grow your economy and grow your system with people who can understand where you're coming from, and you can understand where they're coming from. So that makes the transition and the integration of a greater society much easier, rather than having to integrate persons that just don't have a common history as you do, a common culture as you do.
Would you say your immigration policies are a little more relaxed because you're trying to grow from foreign workforce and labor force, and perhaps maybe we here in the Bahamas, where it seems as if, you know, we're trying to keep people out. And I've always told people that will never work. You will never grow your economy that way. You are going to have to use foreign labor in order to build your economy and expand your economy. It's not something that y'all have shied away from, Turks and Caicos Islanders. There's been an almost open door to embrace foreign workforce. Talk about being able to balance that.
Well, I wouldn't say we have relaxed laws. I think we just have to be more precise and have precision in how we mat out, because of course you have the reality of you have a limited number of skilled persons and a limited number of persons in general within the country. So if you're going to have to find a foreign laborer, if you're talking about a supervisor, middle manager, senior manager, you want to ensure that you enforce your succession planning programs to ensure that, all right, well, this person isn't going to be here forever and ever, and amen, right? So as you grow, more of those opportunities will come about. So it might not be that the person that's understudying will necessarily end up in that position in that particular company, but the skills they would have gained as new opportunities grow across the country and the economy, they might be able to transition over there, because the idea is to ensure that we have more Turks and Caicos Islanders in middle and senior management on the job front, but also that they can benefit from the economic boom and be owners of businesses. Because on one hand, you might want a job as a Turks and Caicos Islander, and you might look at a work permit holder as someone who's in a job you're in. But as an entrepreneur and a business owner, your business may very well also need that foreign labor to be able to operate. So you have to find that balance of the needs and who takes priority at the particular time. So there's enough growth and enough opportunity for all. So we just have to make sure from our policy standpoint is that we ensure that any Turks and Caicos Islander that's willing to work, have the skills or can be trained, has that opportunity. So it's ensuring that the opportunities are available for those Turks and Caicos Islanders.
Have you taken any measures to protect opportunities or growth for Turks and Caicos Islanders? For example, whenever you increase foreign labor, then you have the tendency of people coming in and buying up the land and being able to make sure they can take advantage of what's there. Have you put in any measures to protect things for Turks and Caicos Islanders?
So the primary way we protect Turks and Caicos Islanders would be through the business licensing component. So there's a number of businesses, and we're actually in the process of reviewing this now, a number of businesses that are in the reserve category, which means it would have to be 100% Turks and Caicos Islander owned businesses, or restricted, which would be you can only get a foreign owner if it's signed off by the cabinet of the country. So you would have to make a very robust argument as to why this particular business can have a foreign owner in this particular market. So, and that's for almost the majority of businesses. Now we're updating the business licensing, where we're going to have even more categories that are going to be Turks and Caicos Islander reserve categories, more restricted categories, to ensure that from an economic standpoint, that whatever does take place, we have ownership and true equity as a part of the businesses that take place. So that will help us carve out our portion of the economy.
Have you restricted real estate for Turks and Caicos Islanders?
Well, what we're doing, funny enough, and I was able to be the lead in passing this bill. So what we would have done is that now, well, within the next year, December 30th of this year, actually, we will only Turks and Caicos Islanders will be salespersons. So that's going to be a restricted market. The only existing brokers who might have non-Turks and Caicos Islander partners will be able to move forward. So they'll be grandfathered in. But every new business going forward will have to be a Turks and Caicos Islander, 100% Turks and Caicos Islander owned real estate company, and going forward, all of the salespersons will be Turks and Caicos Islander salespersons, so real estate agents is what they call in layman's terms. So that's basically a $50 million commission industry. I believe the government gets at least $50 million on stamp duty for these types of transactions. So that's about the equivalent in, I believe, commissions that's also gotten in the sales. So that's a significant portion of the economy that very soon only Turks and Caicos Islanders will be able to benefit from.
As Border Services Minister, are you satisfied with the protection of your borders and being able to man the borders to ensure that your island and your territory is protected?
Well, much like the Bahamas, being a multi-island nation, it's very challenging to secure 193 square miles, a country with several entry points.
Right.
So essentially we have to be smarter in terms of detection, which we have a number of radars. We work closely with the Bahamas and U.S. with the Outback, which is the Bahamas, Turks and Caicos operations with the U.S. Coast Guard, as well as having persons that feed us intel and when sloops, particularly coming from the south, may be leaving and trying to get here. Getting to the Turks and Caicos Islands. So it is a challenge, and then if there's a landing, then we have boots on the ground exercises to try to capture as many people and deport them, or repatriate them, I should say, in this instance. So it is an ongoing challenge, but we would have invested in the last term a significant amount of money to get more vessels on the ground so we can actually patrol our waters better. And I believe we are also going to be getting a vessel or two from the UK as well.
Well, definitely, Deputy Premier. If you visited the Turks and Caicos Islands, you know there's a lot happening. Tourism is taking off. The airport expansion project is coming along well. And so it signals there's some great days ahead. And so we definitely wish you and the administration well over the next 5 years in your tenure in office.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for being on the rundown. It's been our pleasure. And we look forward to talking to you in the future. Thank you. Stay with us. When we come back, we're going to talk about justice of the peace. Perhaps maybe I can get my license tonight. We'll see. We'll talk about that. And then later, of course, the big event coming up this weekend. We'll talk about that as well. The rundown, we're back after this. Stay close.
Good morning and welcome. I'm Dr. Gale, and I'm inviting you to be a part of a journey where we open the Word of God to receive strength, to receive empowerment from the Scriptures as they have been written. Get your Bibles, get your cup of coffee or your tea, because this journey is gonna be great. This is your day of victory.
Bahamas Striping Group of Companies, we have been in Exuma now for the past 4 years, carrying out our paving program. A part of our company's philosophy is to do some work to international standards. So when you look at our paving division, we have a state-of-the-art lab to do all of our testing in-house, as well as a state-of-the-art asphalt plant with a trained technician carrying out the work on that site. The overarching goal of our company is to produce the work that we're doing in the entire Bahamas to international standards. We also make a difference by the training of our staff. We have a very intensive training program going on to where we are teaching young men how to learn the art of striping. Being a young man myself, I've made mistakes in the past. I was given a second chance to better my life, and it's only fitting that we pass it along. What's important for us is giving them a second chance for them to get a skill and a career that could take them further in life.
The internet isn't just for surfing. There's a sea of shoppers buying online, and you can connect with them on Tingsy. Tingsy is the SBDC's online storefront built for Bahamians. Take your business to the next level by selling to customers online, both at home and around the world. People want Bahamian things, and if you got things to sell, sell on Tingsy. Find out how you can connect with a sea of buyers by visiting tingsybahamas.com.
Planning the execution of a newscast is serious business. From the assignment to the concept of the story, everything has to be precise, on point, always. The Bahamas Tonight, the National Report, is your trusted news service. We get it right the first time. Our preparation for you each night is done with care, knowing that our voices will reach you on 700 islands and keys with unquestionable accuracy. It gives me great pleasure each night to say,
welcome to the Bahamas Tonight, the National Report. I'm your national anchor, Mukesh Lapinder.
Welcome back. The National Association of Justices of the Peace is committed to bringing together all justices of the peace here in the Bahamas. The association is guided by the Attorney General's office and governed by the laws of the Bahamas and of course the use of our services. To tell us more about the association's mandate is the association's first Vice President, Belinda Chipman, and of course the chaplain, Pastor Jeffrey Wood. Both of you, welcome to the Rundown. Thank you for being here tonight.
Thanks so much for having us. Glad to be here.
So let's talk about the role, because people hear, okay, an Association for the Justice of the Peace. Talk about first of all what the purpose of this association is.
Okay, well, I am really glad to get this opportunity to do this, because people are so misguided and they think, oh, well, I want to be a JP, and they think that that's what we do.
Right.
But no, it starts from you getting that JP appointment from the Bahamas government and of course, being sworn in the courts by the chief magistrate.
Correct.
And then we snag you and we invite you to be a part of us so that you can be under our umbrella. And what we do is we're kind of like an attachment to the government that guides you based on their law. So we keep very good relations with the government and the AG's office to learn what's happening, and we know what the do's and the don'ts are based on the magistrate court, because we are a form of magistrates. And so with that being said, we ensure that we have the human resources and all the different types of resources in speakers, in persons who would come. Chief Magistrate himself, Roberta Reckley, he would come and, you know, he would speak to them and he would say, you know, what your rights are. And of course, we have attorneys, we have a President of the Senate, people from different arms of the government. And of course, privately, we have persons coming in to speak to our JPs and keeping them informed, as well as holistic things with other areas of their life, banking, saving, you name it. And so we keep that tight body and we rub on each other's shoulders. So, you know, the legal system and the lawyers, they're a very tight-knitted group, not as big as we are, because they're over 4,000 JPs. The government has created an army of wonderful citizens who are ready to serve. And
it sounds like it's mushroomed over the years.
Yeah, and it's probably more, because that was my last count, and we're, you know, they're swearing in other persons. But they're people who gave their life to service, and they're properly vetted to ensure that, listen to me, this person would have been tested, proven, and tried to have provided all that they can to help to develop this Bahama land, and now they want to serve further at a later date.
Pastor Wood, what makes a good justice of the peace? Based on the roles and functions of a justice of the peace, what kind of person should be a justice of the peace?
First of all, I think it's a person who can demand the respect of the society, somebody who is honest, somebody who has a sense of integrity, somebody who is trustworthy. And I'm not sure that all these things are checked out, and hence we get some people who've gone the other direction. But I think a person should have proved to themselves. And lots of times you can ask your representative to put your name in, and that person, you know, would get you named as a JP, will sponsor you as a JP. Most of the time it works out, but sometimes it doesn't.
The vetting doesn't pass.
Because the the representative doesn't check that person.
Right.
He checks him on the basis of support, but not fit for the person.
If persons who are JPs violate any, is there any way for somebody to be removed as a JP?
Yes.
So,
yes.
Mr. Watson,
yes, there is.
We can say yes,
yes.
But it's a process.
Yeah,
no, yes, it does. No, yes, because the government and the AG's office, obviously, it's a legal arm of our government, obviously, that governs things that relate to keeping the law.
Right.
So, of course, anything that you get involved in that you mishandle and have any form of malfeasance or misfeasance or misconduct, of course you can be removed.
Yeah.
And then some persons die. But you know, there have been persons over the years that we have known that have been wayward, and I think this is why our founding members have gone the lengths to set this organization up.
Right.
Because we knew about the situations, and obviously if I'm affiliated or I'm a JP, I wouldn't want everyone to think that all JPs are the same.
Right.
So we set this organization up, and I'll tell you, I just really want to stick a pin to tell you some of our founders.
Please.
We have, back in the day, in 09 is when it was first registered, and then, you know, they had a little break in there, and then we officially launched in 010, and we had Mr. Hilton McIntosh. These are some of the brain children. Our first president was Mr. Philip Archer, and we had a supporting team with him of Dr. Laura Johnson. These are some persons, we just honored them for their role in establishing this company. And we also have persons like Tanya Kemp Sawyer, who did some of the legal work and things like that. And then we had persons like the well-renowned Romeo Farrington and Mr. Sydney. Oh my goodness, don't beat me up, but you know, when I'm getting to the 5th floor, you know how that is. But you know, we also, it was a colleague?
No, not Sydney.
Oh, sorry, that's the wrong name, sorry. Anyhow, but we also had persons like Mr. But anyhow, a lot of other persons came along the way and helped. Then the president became ill, so it would kind of had a dormant period, and then we came back. That's when I came, which is later now. And then we had Tanya Sawyer. She went away to study law, and then she came back, and then we kind of revived it along with the president at the time. And so Godfrey Wood came on, and a lot of other really talented service-driven Bahamians who were ready to now take this to the next level. The president got from the police person who was the head of police at the time, I think that was Paul Roll, yes. And he got all of the approvals that we needed to be able to use the Bahamian symbols and things like that. We had meetings.
Rutherford.
Yes, and Rutherford, Patrick Rutherford as well. And all of the Bahamian symbols and etc. So after we did all of those things, we went now on a drive to try, like you said, get membership. And how we get membership is we not just advertise, obviously, through your program and other programs, but we go out there and we do national service-based things. Like we did the census of all those almost 2,000 people to go do the census. So we swore all of them in. We went to be all day, and like 2 days in a row, we were at the National Stadium doing that. And so we think that we bring a value to this service.
Should there be standardized charges or rates for services to JPs provide, for example, so that people aren't exploited? Should there be something that the association comes up with and say, listen, if you go to Justice of Peace for this service, it should cost between this amount. If you go for this service, it should cost between this amount. So people have an understanding, an idea that if I go to somebody and they're charging me something that's not even in this range, something's wrong.
Yes. There is not one now.
Yes, well, there is one.
But there is one, but no, they don't follow the guideline. Yes. It's not official, okay? And so, obviously, people, and these are some of the things that the association wants to bring. But let me backtrack again, because, you know, Clint, you know, I'm following your lead, but at the same time, we want to also recognize my president, and he is Ambassador Devon Roll. Yes, he is a preacher from KDC Embassies in Palmdale, and that's where we actually have our meetings every second Tuesday of the month. And
so those who are justice of the peace and want to join can just come to the meeting?
Come to the meeting.
Yeah.
Come to the meeting.
Every Tuesday?
Every second Tuesday in the month.
In the month.
Yes.
So second Tuesday of every month,
yes.
You're going to go to...
At 7 o'clock.
Right there, Rosetta Street.
The Honda Plaza.
The Honda Plaza.
The Honda Plaza, right across from where Grace Music School used to be. And our president and the team, we have our executive board, and we're there waiting to just accept you. We want to create a force that can be a great backup arm and system to the government. We have already sent correspondence to the Attorney General to use some of us to help to take down the backlogs in the courts.
Right.
Because a lot of us are qualified and able to do it, and the backlog is backlogged.
Right.
And so it's not any one fault, administration's fault, but it's there. And so we want to help. We want to help in a meaningful way. And so all of those types of things that relate to whether law, order, keeping the peace, and going out there and even doing things like community development projects, we want to be involved in it, and we are involved in some of them as well.
All right, I'll give you, Pastor Wood, the final word.
Yes, we appreciate the fact that we do have the association, and what we're trying to do is bring accountability to this big body of people. We're also trying to establish chapters in each of the family islands right now, but they can join us. We have recently started streaming our meetings, and so Family Island JPs can attend the meetings. But then, to be a member, you have to apply, and $50.
All right, so if you're out there in your justice of the peace, this is obviously a very good body to be a part of, so you know what's happening in the sector, how you can be a part of it. And obviously, for people, I think they probably eventually have a listing, so people know, listen, these are justice of the pieces that you can go to, who you know you're going to get excellent service, who can provide for you. It's good to be a part of that. I'll give you, Vice President, the last word.
Yes, well, basically, most importantly, we want to instill integrity. We want to be able to help to keep the peace, all of the things that are in our mandate. But most importantly, we invite every one of you. We have a lot of new, I think every Friday there is another swearing in, and so we try to go to the courts to recruit you. But if we missed you, please come to the KDC Embassy in Palmdale in the Honda Plaza every second Tuesday at about 7 p.m. and join us in the meetings to get signed up and to be a part of this wonderful body of persons who we have support there. If you don't know how to do something, please just don't go ahead and do it. You could go to jail. Ask somebody.
I just wanted to say that on Saturday I'll be 87.
Wow.
And
happy birthday.
I thank you, and I just want to turn this over to some of the younger people. I think it's gone a good way.
Thank you, Pastor. Thank you, sir. We appreciate you. Thank you both for coming.
So much.
Then when we come back, where you should be this weekend, I'll tell you right after the break. Stay close.
Thank you.
Thank you both.
No.
I have been coming to this island since I was 12 years old. It didn't take me long to realize the rich history it has here. When I bought this island in 2018, I fulfilled a lifelong dream. The goal is not only to preserve the memories I made over those years, but to make new ones and to give others the opportunity to do the same. As we go through this process, it has become clear to me, we aren't just rebuilding an island, we're reviving a legend.
The thought of colon cancer never really crossed my mind until 2019, when a very good friend of mine was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer. I was shocked. Everybody was shocked because he was a picture of perfect health. He was young, athletic, successful, and full of life. Many of us are still in disbelief. I started to question my own health because if it happened to him, surely it could happen to me. Then came the fear, the anxiety, and everything else in between. Facing your own mortality is very sobering. But for me, I decided right then to have a colonoscopy, and I'm glad I did.
Colon cancer is the third most common cancer diagnosed in Bahamian men and women. Fortunately, almost all colon cancers are preventable. A colonoscopy or some other appropriate form of colon cancer screening is recommended for everyone over the age of 45. During a colonoscopy, we can detect and remove colon polyps that may grow and later become colon cancers. Don't wait until you develop symptoms, such as blood in your stool, abdominal pain, a significant change in your bowel habits, or unintentional weight loss. These may all be indications of a severe problem that requires immediate attention. If you're over the age of 45 or have any of those symptoms, talk to your doctor about the benefits of colon cancer screening today.
Welcome back. Before we close tonight, I got to tell you what you got to be this weekend. That's my job. Bahamian music lovers, get ready for another fabulous all-Bahamian concert. The legends of Rake and Scrape this time. This Saturday, May 10th, at the Farm on Marshall Road. Y'all know the location. You can get ready to dance to the hits of KB, Sweet Emily, Gino D, Funky D, Simeon Alton, got some gospel in there for you, and guess what? Singing Bishop Lawrence Roll. That's what I'm talking about. Now, it's giving us a preview tonight is Clint Bodie, KB, and of course, Emily Williams, better known as Sweet Emily. Thank you, two amazing legends in Bahamian music. Thank you for being here. I'm honored to have you both.
Thank you, thank you.
It's good to be here.
So, talk about Saturday. Talk about Saturday. Lord KB, what this gonna be?
Again, you know,
Lord
again. Well, you know, the Boatman show was a great show.
Yes, yes.
They came back with a great idea of bringing the legends, you know, those who held the Bahamian music and the Bahamian culture together for, you know, in our secular music. So, got Emily, Funky D, Gino, the whole crew, man. D-Mark, everyone. Wilfred Solomon's going to be coming in. You're gonna have, there's going to be a whole crew, and again, you know, Simeon out and out of my good cousin of the Grand Bahama.
Absolutely.
And of course the singing Bishop. So we're gonna have a great night.
I can tell you now, y'all can't outdance the singing Bishop.
I haven't even taken the challenge, man.
Don't even try. Don't even try.
Well, let me keep quiet. Let me keep quiet.
Emily, y'all continue to make amazing performances on all of these events that have been taking place for the last few months and years, really. Bahamian artists have really risen to the occasion. It's like you put something on that stage that you don't find other artists from other countries have.
Absolutely.
What is it?
I mean, I feel as if what we bring is quite different from what other people bring. And like we say, it's not even a show, it's an event.
Right,
it's not a regular concert because it's a showcase of the best of Bahamian music and the legends that are living. Because sometimes we don't recognize persons until they're past. But to see people like Veronica Bishop and to see persons like, of course, KB, Iris Starr, his band would be there as well, Wilfred Solomon all the way from Freeport, and so many others. We also have, what's the gentleman name from?
Basil.
That's the one who did the Sailor Man song. And of course, you know, and for me as a female too, I always like to speak to the female aspect of it. Veronica and I guess, you know, everybody know I took my little sabbatical, but I've always been still pushing out music. And so over the years, persons like myself, Veronica Bishop, Therese, who was passed on, we have been the females who continue to keep the females in the limelight of Bahamian music. I was the first one actually recording what we do, and everybody else came behind, Nita, Therese, and Veronica Bishop. And so it's going to be a showcase of talent that Bahamians have never seen on one stage.
I got to ask, is there a lot of pressure to have to constantly keep it coming? Because people, when they see you, they expect you to always have something new and always be great. And, you know, I know what it's like as someone who's on stage.
Right.
Sometimes you don't feel it. Sometimes you're tired. Sometimes you go through, but you got to deliver because people expect you to always be at your best. It takes a lot.
Oh, yeah, and you know, Bahamian people ain't easy, you know. we ain't easy. So,
listen to me, when you have an off night, they know.
But Clint, I think one of the things that I know you would agree with is, especially from a Christian standpoint, we understand anointing, and we understand when a person is anointed for something, it comes natural. And I always tell people, yes, we have some artists who's hit and miss. I can be real. But you got some artists who don't hit and miss. KB is one of them. KB is one of them, okay?
Thank you.
D-Mark is one of them.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, Billy Emily is one of them.
Of course.
I have never had, honestly, I've never had a bad show.
Wow.
Because you have times when you go to these regatas and you go to do these shows where the audience may not be excited or come to the stage.
Right.
But you have to have that experience, and I think that's something that, see, KB and persons like myself, unlike persons like D-Mark, we grew up in the what you call over the hill nightclub scene. That's where we came out of. Bands that played in the nightclubs, eventually worked in hotels and that type of stuff. So you would have had to been a person who know how to entertain. Like a funky don't have a bad joke.
Yes. Right.
And you know certain people, and I think that's what sets some entertainers apart from others, or persons who come in the business, they believe it's just hopping on the stage, performing, but you must understand the audience. And so, you know, it's going to be a great time. It's going to be 100% Bahamian, and that's what I like about it. And I mean, we've come a long way.
And I want to answer to what he asked you about what's different from, I guess, the rest of Caribbean. You know, I think what's different is our dialect, our music, our, you know, just the way we present ourselves as Bahamians. And I think Bahamians are now feeling the pride in themselves to say, okay, these guys are they're representing us. Like when you saw Bob Marley, you said, oh, look, Bob them represent Jamaica. You see Trini, you see Marshall, they're representing Trini. Now they see us representing them and bringing music that can speak to them as quality music, and they're feeling real proud about it. And I think Bahamians, especially from the kids and the grown-ups.
Listen, and what I like about it is that our music is often based on stories that you can relate to. Right? When you think about the songs that are hit songs, you can tell a whole story.
Especially KB.
And Phil, don't forget Phil.
Too. Yeah.
But you know, what I love about KB, KB has this superior level of telling stories, right? Because
subliminal.
I never understood the boatman story until I understand the boatman story. And then you realize, okay, this is a story.
Tell me what you understand since you...
Well, it's a story about a boatman who's on the water.
There you go.
Well, that's what I thought it was.
No, it is.
You know, seaman and...
I don't... Listen, I don't know where to see. Again, everyone reads it.
Well...
Everyone reads into what I'm writing. But let me say, no. The point is, we can... It's a story about us. We're speaking to us. And I love that. And we are funny, you know, when I say funny people, we laugh, we can make jokes, we'll tease you. Don't do nothing wrong, we tease you all day. And so I think we are beautiful people, I think we are blessed people. And we may have one or two bad ways, but we got 1,000 good ways. And that's what I love about us as a people. I love the Bahamas, I love our people. And just like you had the Deputy Prime Minister here, I give him the best, Premier, say Prime Minister. Premier here from Turks and Caicos, again, we're basically almost the same people. Same people.
Listen to me. When they did the big event they had last year in Turks and Caicos, we were there.
I saw you.
And what amazed me is how the Turks and Caicos Islanders went crazy when they saw the people who they played music with all the time. I watched when, because you know, after the show, what I love about it is the fact that after that show, after Emily got on the stage, you know where she went? Down to the people.
That's right.
And I still thought it was amazing. She went and she went on to people, talked to people, hailed people, and those people were going crazy. She would stand up talking to them. It showed that, listen, man, I have a human side to me. I ain't got to be away from you guys. You are the ones who constantly play my music. I come to meet you. I come to support you.
And Emily, that's what she is. And I want to get back to you, though, because the same way I think that you're doing, you know, you do your gospel music, and I think I watch you, you know, you do your thing, but I want you to transition one or two of them over some rake and scrape, and let's see what we can do. I'm looking forward to
collaboration.
I know you can do phenomenal. I know you're a great producer. I know you can do some phenomenal work, and I know again. I think you see it coming. You've watched our shows. I've seen you in Grand Bahama. Remember you did your show last year, and I think we can do some things together. You know, we can transcend. Because I think the religious gospel music is going to get over before even the secular music can move. Because in the genre of music, I think the gospel music can do it. Can go international. Can go before because it's different. You remember what's McCurkin who did the we got the song name.
I made up medley.
Yes. Oh man, so you can see that Caribbean music.
You are correct. On all of the tours that Shabak has done, and recently in the last 5 years we've done Japan, we've done Asia, Paris, Dubai, and all of those countries we've gone to. When we hit that Bahamian rhythm, It's like people come alive all of a sudden.
Yes, and you know, if you're doing Junkanoo or whatever, again, it's the same thing. But you know what? Again, I appreciate ZNS giving us this opportunity to push the show, man. Thank you so much, man.
Saturday,
May 10th.
All of it is going down, so get your tickets. Make sure you're there. I promise you, no show they've ever done together has ever been a bad show. It's going to be a great one. Les has done it again. Congratulations to Les and the entire team for making sure Bahamians have an opportunity to enjoy their artists on a regular basis. Saturday is where it goes down. Listen now, none of y'all got an excuse to stay home. Why? Because you got all the artists, gospel and the secular. So you can't stay home and say, well, I can't go. You ain't go.
You ain't got to worry about security. You ain't got to worry about parking. You ain't got to worry. It's going to be phenomenal.
And I think that's one of the things that I like about this particular show. I think this is the first show that I've ever seen in the entire Bahamas in all the years that I've been a Bahamian and alive, where you have gospel artists on Radio Scrape, and what they call secular. I don't really like to use the word secular, because I look at it as more cultural.
That's what it is.
Right. But at the end of the day, just like Clint has said, you can come out and you can enjoy. So I think the poll would be the persons who would come out to see the Lawrence Rule and see me out, and I believe that's a whole demographic of persons who would not have probably come out.
Correct.
Because they would have, you know, how our church life going to Bahamas, and people say to the show, you're secular, backslide.
Can I say this? A lot of those religious people, they come to me in the airport and they say, don't mind me, I listen to you now.
Of course.
And they love the music. We got to support our own.
Thank you very much.
Saturday's a place to be. Make sure you're out there and Saturday.
Come early.
Tomorrow night, I'm in Grand Bahama. The show will be live from Grand Bahama tomorrow night. We have a big story brewing in Grand Bahama. I'm going to bring that to you tomorrow night. So we'll see you for the rundown in Freeport tomorrow night. That does it for the rundown. Coming up next is 11 o'clock news. Preparing for the 11 o'clock news. Royston Jones is in the house. So make sure you get your last news of the day with Royston Jones. And of course, that does it for us tonight. On behalf of all of us, I'm Clint Watson. Thanks for joining us. Good night, everyone.
The internet isn't just for surfing. There's a sea of shoppers buying online, and you can connect with them on Tingsy. Tingsy is the SBDC's online storefront built for Bahamians. Take your business to the next level by selling to customers online, both at home and around the world.